Hello, everyone, very warmly. This is the third episode of the Kanga University Podcast series. The title of this podcast is Satoshi Nakamoto, who is the creator of Bitcoin. I am AI astronaut from Kanga, and I invite you to listen to this episode. Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin. Who is he? Who is the creator of Bitcoin? The creator of perhaps the biggest technological revolution. The true identity of this person, or perhaps organization, is still unknown. One thing is certain: Satoshi Nakamoto still holds Bitcoin, and a large amount of it. On October 31st, 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto revealed the Bitcoin White Paper, known as the Bitcoin Manifesto. The official title of this document is Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Wanting to decentralize exchange between units, he developed a complex protocol enabling the exchange of digital currency without an intermediary through blockchain and smart contracts. It is important to note that Satoshi Nakamoto did not invent or create the blockchain technology. It existed in the minds of computer scientists and philosophers for several years. However, Satoshi found the first major application for this technology, the blockchain. And that application is Bitcoin. Bitcoin was officially launched in 2009. However, long before that date, before 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto was active on internet forums and email groups. However, in 2011, communication with Satoshi ceased. In the end, whether Satoshi Nakamoto is one person, a group of people, a contemporary Homer, or an outstanding individual, we do not know. There are many different arguments and theories, each associated with the belief that it was either one person or some organization. However, we do not have definitive evidence. We can, however, learn a lot from the communication style and some additional facts. Just from the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, we can guess that Satoshi could have been Japanese. It's a suggestion. However, very good knowledge of English. Here I remind you that we never heard Satoshi Nakamoto speak, but we read a lot of his texts. Very good knowledge of the English language suggests that he probably lived in America and may have lived there since birth. Moreover, Satoshi Nakamoto spoke in time zones when it was night in Japan. Even if we assume that Satoshi Nakamoto was Japanese and spoke English perfectly, we can assume that he probably did not function in Japan. Interestingly, within the first Bitcoin block, the Genesis block, Satoshi Nakamoto hid a certain message. This message read, "The Times newspaper, January 3rd, 2009. The Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks." This message itself is interpreted by specialists in many different ways. Some interpret it as Satoshi's assessment, an assessment of the banking system. We know that the banking system in 2009, as usual, but then it was very clearly seen, was in very bad shape. The United Kingdom, just like the Americans and many other countries at that time, had to bail out the banks from collapse. So it is assumed that Satoshi wanted to express a certain manifesto, an assessment that the banking system is a bad system, functioning poorly. However, some suggest that Satoshi wanted to send a signal from which city he ultimately broadcasts. That he broadcasts from London. How was it? We do not know, but maybe we will find out someday. Another theory presents Satoshi Nakamoto as a young student who, after several dozen months of Bitcoin activity, became scared of what Bitcoin could do to the world, how Bitcoin could change the world. From Satoshi Nakamoto's communication, from how he formulated his thoughts and beliefs, from the very content of the Bitcoin Manifesto, we know that he was a very intelligent person, or it was a very intelligent organization, rather an organization composed of intelligent individuals. However, supporters of the theory that Satoshi Nakamoto was a young, intelligent student, knowledgeable in economics and mathematics, because he was undoubtedly an above-average cryptographer, these same supporters, or those supporting this theory, say that Satoshi Nakamoto was rather an average programmer because the first Bitcoin code is well written, but it is evident that it was written by a person with no programming experience. And precisely this belief that he was a young student who at some point understood that he had started a train that would not stop anymore. This belief that this student got scared, this belief that when he revealed how the world would change, it caused such great fear in this student that he decided to cut himself off from Bitcoin. As we know happened in 2011, there are many other theories. It is worth mentioning the connection between Bitcoin and Satoshi Nakamoto's identity with the Silk Road Exchange. The Silk Road Exchange was a marketplace for trading drugs. I encourage you to research the history of this exchange. Of course, I do not encourage you to be interested in drugs. However, where does the connection between Satoshi Nakamoto and the Silk Road Exchange come from? If only because on March 20th, 2013, a transaction of 1,000 bitcoins was made. And that in itself wouldn't be strange, a transaction related to the Silk Road Exchange. That alone wouldn't be strange if it wasn't for the fact that these funds went to a cryptocurrency wallet created just 4 days after Bitcoin was launched. There were also speculations that Ross Albrecht, the founder of Silk Road, was the creator of Bitcoin. However, he himself denied these insinuations. Today we know that the recipient or owner of this wallet was Dustin Tremelli, and Silk Road used him as an intermediary for illegal transactions. Dustin himself denied that he could be Satoshi Nakamoto. He also denied knowing Satoshi Nakamoto. So this theory, although it seems very interesting that Satoshi Nakamoto himself was associated with the Silk Road Exchange, rather has shaky foundations. As we have already mentioned, Satoshi Nakamoto was active until mid-2010. However, in April 2011, the creator disappeared without a trace. His last words sent to one of the programmers were, "Now I will take care of other matters." There are several proposals for other people who could be Satoshi Nakamoto. Craig Wright is such a man who in 2015 declared that he is the creator of Bitcoin, and interestingly, his opinion was confirmed by many people associated with the Bitcoin community. Behind his theory that he is the creator of the Bitcoin network stood members of the Bitcoin Foundation and developers who cooperate with the Bitcoin Foundation. However, it must be clearly stated that there were many more skeptics or doubters of this candidacy. Nevertheless, in 2019, this Australian computer scientist and businessman applied for copyright to the Bitcoin white paper and the original Bitcoin code. The matter is still unresolved and probably never will be. Nick Szabo is another candidate, the creator of BitGold, a cryptocurrency that was created before Bitcoin but did not succeed. Here theorists say that the way of expressing oneself, forming thoughts, Nick Szabo's activity hours were very similar to the activity hours and the way of expressing oneself of Satoshi Nakamoto. Nick Szabo himself denied that he is Nakamoto, but the cryptocurrency community, at least an important faction of it, does not completely believe Nick. Dorian Nakamoto is another person worth mentioning. He is a man of Japanese descent, living in the United States, and that alone suggests a lot to us. Moreover, when Dorian was born, he was not actually named Dorian Nakamoto, but Satoshi Nakamoto. For many years he lived in the neighborhood of Hal Finney, about whom we will say more in a moment, but Dorian himself denies that he could be Satoshi Nakamoto, although during one of the interviews he once said that it was he, but later said that he misunderstood the journalist's question. Hal Finney, well, here's an interesting fact. One of the founders of the Kanga exchange, Sławek Zawadzki, believes that it was Hal Finney who was Satoshi Nakamoto, an early user, the first recipient of the first Bitcoin transfer, precisely Hal Finney. He lived in Los Angeles, or in the vicinity of Los Angeles, more or less where some suspect Satoshi Nakamoto could have lived. Hal Finney died in 2014. He died of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and this could explain the sentence that Satoshi himself uttered or sent to one of the developers, that he must now deal with his matters. And the last proposal is Elon Musk. Elon Musk needs no introduction. Elon Musk himself denies that he could be Satoshi Nakamoto, but he points to Nick Szabo as the author of this great revolutionary technology. All supporters, all enthusiasts of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies would very much like to know who the true Satoshi Nakamoto was or is. Is it one person or an organization? Today, with all certainty, we can say that this is the greatest mystery of the internet and finance. And this mystery keeps many people awake at night. However, it must be clearly stated that we probably will not be able to solve this mystery. And what do you think? Who was Satoshi Nakamoto?